we're back right here on the Cowboys Fan Show. Now, here we like to take your questions from social media using the hashtag CowboysFS. That's CowboysFS for Cowboys Fan Show. Simple enough, right?
I think so.
So we got a four-pack of questions for you here this week, Scott. Our first question comes to us from Marty out in Santa Rosa. So we've heard the news that the NFL is opening their investigation again on Zeke Elliott, potential domestic violence. Now, Marty wants to know, if Zeke gets suspended, will Dak be as effective as he is now?
No, absolutely not. And for the record, I don't think he's going to be suspended. I really don't. There was a lot of talk yesterday in the media about his lawyers coming out. He's really kind of coming after the NFL, saying that it's an unfair process. It's something that you can't really be found innocent of. It's always ongoing until, you know what I mean? But I mean, he was the district attorney in the county that those charges were filed didn't think that it was even worthy of
Right.
charges being pressed on him. There were several witnesses, according to what I've been reading, that say no, he didn't lay a finger on her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she had bruises the night before from a bar fight. The lady likes to drink. I don't know, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. I'm glad he removed himself from that situation. It seems like he's handling it the way that he should. There's not a lot of talk about it, but let's face it. Like, this is really on the Giants kicker Brown,
Right.
at this point.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it pops up, and it's like, Goodell's going to be Goodell, and he's starting to think, oh, I don't want to look like I'm soft on domestic violence. So it's in my opinion, it's a bit of a witch hunt right now. It's just it's the league wanting to look like the league feels like they need to look like they're tough on domestic violence, and they should be.
Right.
But let's go after the guys that are guilty.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. The district attorney at first, he didn't even think there was enough evidence to hold a case against Zeke. So
Yeah.
they just dismissed the charges right off the bat, and now the NFL is opening another investigation. We'll see how it goes. Both of us here don't think it's going to turn into anything, which I don't think it should. Zeke's lawyers came out and said there's a mountain of evidence that basically frees my client.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, when eyewitness accounts saying,
Right.
"No, hey, never happened,"
Yeah.
she's not being truthful, then how do we resolve this? And I think that is something that needs to be addressed. Actually, it's like these players. There needs to be a fair due process for these guys.
Absolutely. So moving right along, this next question comes to us from Gilbert in Santa Rosa, the infamous trade Dez Bryant Gilbert. He wants to know, he's still hating hard on Dez, by the way.
Wow.
Did the game change when Dak stopped trying to force the ball to Dez and started spreading it around?
No, absolutely not. I mean, and I touched on this earlier. I mean, Dez should have had 12 catches for 250 yards, and I was reading Brian Broaddus' column on Cowboys.com yesterday morning, and he agreed. Dez Bryant was open this entire game. The thing is, the reason the game changed on that, instead of trying to force it to Dez, it doesn't mean that Dez is doing a poor job. It doesn't mean that Dez isn't open. These guys are blitzing. They're putting a lot of pressure. And the way that you beat that blitz is you go to your hot read. And that's Cole Beasley in the slot, screen passes to the outside or whatever. So Dez Bryant, he's a downfield receiver. It takes 3-4 seconds.
Yeah.
For him to get out there and get open, and when you're taking that much heat, you can't really go to him. So what we did is we had to adjust our playbook based on the fact that they were beating our O-line at times. They were getting pressure on Dak, and we needed to get the ball out faster. And you do that by going to guys that aren't your downfield receivers. Not a reflection on Dez at all.
Yeah.
I mean, O-line picks up those blitzes, and that guy has a Julio Jones type of numbers game. And I mean, everybody that had him in fantasy is praising his name right now.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, Dak was not great at all on Sunday night, by far. He didn't turn it on until about, halfway through the fourth quarter. It was when he finally got going. So, in all fairness, Dez, he did have some bad passes thrown his way, especially that second and goal where they threw the fade.
By 1 foot in the end zone, or he has 2 touchdowns in this one. I mean, you look at the touchdown that he caught. I mean, he's holding it a foot out from his body, and there's 2 guys smacking it, and he still doesn't drop that thing. I mean, honestly, how many guys in the league can do that? He's got the strongest hands in the league. He's a fantastic receiver. No reflection on Dez Gilbert. I love the man. But, yeah, the game changed a little bit because that's what we needed to do because we were getting beat off the line.
So we saw the 2 injuries to not Brandon Carr, to Mo Claiborne and Barry Church.
Yeah.
Barry Church has a fractured forearm, and Mo Claiborne has a sports hernia. Claiborne expected to miss about 6 weeks, could be the rest of the regular season.
Right.
Barry Church supposed to miss in about 3 to 5 weeks. So how will the secondary hold up after losing these 2 guys?
Well, They're going to do what they have to do, and Jason Garrett's next man up mentality it's got to come into play here. J.J. Wilcox is having a fantastic season quietly.
Yeah.
And I mean, he actually laid some wood in this one, and I was very proud of that guy. Jeff Heath has stepped in admirably, and these are two guys that have never had injury issues, so I'm not too concerned about. Although Church had neither. Anthony Brown's playing phenomenally on the outside. So we touched on this last week. What do you do? Like, do you move Brown to the outside? Do you move Scan to the outside? I think they're probably going to just rotate a little bit. These are huge injuries, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Claiborne, I thought he was going to go to the Pro Bowl this year. I think it's a real shame that he picked up that injury. And Barry Church actually was the second leading tackler on this team up until with 60 throughout the season. So, yeah, this one hurts a little bit. But we do have depth. And I don't think that this is like a game-changing scenario. The next several games we have, I think we got Cleveland, we got Pittsburgh, we've got Baltimore, and then after that we either have, is it Tampa Bay? Is it Washington? Washington on Thanksgiving, that's right. I think those are four very winnable games right now, especially not knowing how Roethlisberger is with the Pittsburgh one. That's the only one that would really concern me, but I don't think he's going to be 100%. But these are all winnable games. I think by the time we get to another tough opponent, we have Church back at least, and I think that these injuries aren't going to play a huge factor towards the rest of our season.
And one of the big knocks on Mo throughout the years with Dallas is that he's injury prone.
He is injury prone.
He is injury prone. It's been how many years since he's played a full season? I don't think
he ever has. I'm pretty sure he never has. But you know, I think that's a testament to this team and the coaching and just the spirit of that. I mean, this win, I couldn't turn the TV off for an hour after this win because I was so proud of those guys, and they're hugging each other. Jason Garrett's cutting his face on Witten's helmet because they're so happy for each other, and they're so you have that next man up mentality, and a guy like Mo who has been injury prone to be able to fight back from all those injuries that have been so hard on him and come back to have this type of season that he's been having. He's going to come back strong. I mean, if it's not with us this year, he's going to land somewhere else next year. But like I said, I'm proud of those guys. I'm proud of the mentality, the keep fighting mentality that this team has. So when it comes to those type of injuries, the next man up thing, I do have a lot of faith in this team.
Now, this here might be my favorite question that we've ever gotten on the show. This comes to us from Edwin out in San Ignacio. He wants to know, will the haters still hate after next week's win?
Haters gonna hate, man. Well, next week we have Cleveland.
Exactly. So
they're gonna be like, it's Cleveland, yeah. But next, I expect us to be sitting at 7-1, and you know, if the Patriots lose next week, then we're gonna be sitting with the best record in the NFL, and they can hate all they want. That's fine. We're winning.
Dallas #1 in the NFC, #2 overall in the current power rankings that were just released. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back to have a look around the NFC East. You're watching the Cowboys Fan Show.
Let's go Cowboys!